Happy Sunday, everyone, everybody. I hope you're all having a splendid, beginning of your day. It's like only 10 in the morning as I'm, dropping this video because we got to have a Sunday sit down. We got to have a sit down. We got to sit down and have a discussion. As uncomfortable as it makes a lot of people feel, like, you have to have it because a lot of people, their parents never had that talk with them, you know. They don't have older siblings or older cousins or friends who possess more maturity, and that lesson is more or less like slipping out of their fingers. They get trapped and they get encircled by the very hysteria they sought to control, to be the hunter that becomes the hunted, you know. You like how I spun that in with my intro, like from Monster Hunter Rise. I gotta play that game more. But yeah, and also like as an aside, like everyone's saying that Marathon is dead and this and that. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it could be, or it could be that like there isn't as much to the game as you normally get from these live service games, and you're just like, well, I'll wait till the next season wipe because everyone's just like try harding it. Like I said, like Marathon was an established um, fan base from Destiny and Destiny 2 who just like said, "Oh, we gave up Destiny for like basically PvP with a slight side of PvE, and like extraction, which is the going thing nowadays. You gotta like put extraction in everything. Your first person shooters, and now they got like battle royale, which I think like honestly, Marathon needed that. Like it needed battle royale, so I gotta get back into it. But like I honestly thought it was gonna get a wipe in Arc Raiders, so I was just like playing that game to try to get the skills. And I'm like, no, I got like a couple days left before they wipe me, so I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm a little confused. I thought I was gonna lose my skill points and shit, but I just kept all my inventory, kept everything. I love this game, by the way, Arc Raiders, because it just goes to show that there is a level of prestige and capability that you have when you're on your own that you lose when you're in crowds of people. So I'm gonna get into this like topic on this video and shit. All right, be right back. All right, back. And the topic that we're gonna be talking about is a lack of self-awareness and how that will like bring you down, especially when you associate with people who not only possess those qualities as well, but also have like a cultural bias against them. So in my instance, right, I am people see me and they think, oh, South Asian, whatever, right? Indian, whatever ethnicity. Like I get Tamil a lot. So, and I don't know those languages. I've never been there. None of my family members are from there, right? And like, yeah, obviously as time went on, like the whole Toronto man speak, the fucking language that they're trying to lift off of West Indies people because they get turned on by all the girls who go to Caravana and shit, and then clap up some STDs and shit. Like, so it's like, the brain stems get corroded away, and then they can't like speak properly and shit, and they gotta like come up with like their own fucking language, try to like pretend like they're part of a culture that don't want them and shit. Because man, I don't want to be associated with East Indians or Punjabis or Pakistanis, especially since like these mans can link up together, right? They've never met each other and shit, and they'll see like a white girl, a young white girl, and they'll all like take turns raping her and shit. And you think I'm making this shit up? It happens so much and so often, man, that it's like it's a porn category in the porn that they watch and shit. It's called Guri Guri, Punjabi for like white porcelain woman or some shit like that. And Gora is the name for like dark. I mean like light colored guys, and then like I think it's Kali and Kala for like dark people because it's like they don't like them. Like from Indiana Jones, the Kali, the god Kali sacrifice. Hindu god, evil Hindu, dark Hindu god. He's so dark. She's so dark, evil, sticking her tongue out. She's a man eater. But like, it's one of those things where people all around the world, because I was about to call this video the reclassification of groups, like, ethnic groups or some shit like that, some like, weird, whatever title. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I just gotta have to sit down and just talk to like everybody, generally speaking, and like, lay it all out. Groups of people are going to be reclassified, okay? So like back in the day, you'd have like groups of black guys and you'd be like, okay, these guys are dangerous. And like they may or they may not be, right? This or that, right? Criminals, people who are gonna like run up in your store and rob them. But then like you're thinking to yourself, well, hey, wait, what happens if like, you have other groups of other ethnicities that do the same thing, right? And like, you're just like vilifying the black people because it's the easy way out. So then you start looking at other ethnicities and you're like, oh my God, like not only is that true, but it's being done on purpose to use black people as a scapegoat so that like, the worst crimes, the worst types of crimes are just swept under the rug, are, being, you know, taken out of like, circulation and shit. So like let's take the stabbing spree that, Axel Rudakabana, this you know, I think Rwandan refugee child of Rwandan refugees and shit who was radicalized by Islam and shit, but was like, so mainstream in the news that like it's never gonna go away versus like the countless rape squads, countless rapes on women, countless like, just men waiting outside of bars or buildings or wherever to prey on specifically white women. But like there's other women too. And I think there's like a theory behind I have a theory behind why the other women aren't coming out and speaking up about it. It's because it's like they're part of a community, like the South Asian community, that if you speak up about that, you're gonna get hurt because like these people, they don't have morals, they don't have like anything, and if you're like against them, like they're just gonna use their entire like families, all their like relatives, all to just like suppress you because their main method of reproduction is rape, and this is like a harsh reality that people are starting to fucking see nowadays. So there's this other and this is like a big one in the UK, right? um an entire Islamic school or whatever sect, and they're calling themselves like the followers of light or some gay ass shit like that. Meanwhile, they're kidnapping women, sending them back to Pakistan and Punjab, like forced conversions, rapes, kidnaps, like forced confinements and shit like that. Something like 500 officers came to raid this place, and they arrested all these people, imams, all these Muslims and shit. Muslims from all different backgrounds, primarily from Pakistan, the Punjab region. And then like I bring that up is because this is current day. This is like 2026, right? The month of what happened in April. It's May now, right? And how that's gonna like reclassify the way like groups of people see other groups of people. So now when I see a group of Pakistanis, Punjabis, basically neck bearded, like deodorant challenged retards that, can't exist by themselves. They have to, gang up in groups and then hide behind cops. Like they're like the biggest bitches of the world. But then like at the same time, they're also here to rape women. They're also here to rape children. And the government's allowing it to happen because they're one-sided voters, right? And everyone's like, it's a Ponzi scheme. Like the cops are probably getting a kickback from the liberals. They're getting a kickback from ESG. They're getting a kickback from the SPLC. Like all these fucking organizations, probably like have secret banquet dinners or some shit like that. These fundraisers, air quotes. Meanwhile, all it is, it's like what do you call that? It's a tax write-off, more or less. And then they discuss like how they're gonna fucking control a nation, control the media, control the internet. They want to control the internet now. They're talking about radicalized youth on the internet, and I'm like, No, that's not the case. They're never radicalized on the internet. They're radicalized by their family, and then like they're all going on the internet doing what they were taught. And you're like everyone's just being so naive. Oh, they didn't learn it from home. They learned it from the bad kids at school. They no, dude. They got their fucking religion from their parents. They come from a fucking country where the only religion is their religion. Okay? Like even with Sikhism, when you could argue like there's a lot of Hindus and Muslims in their country, nah, dog. They're pushing them out, and they're like, yo, they want their own land for themselves, Khalistan, even though they're fucking too cowards to go and fight for it. Straight bitch mans and shit, yo. Straight bitch fans. Trying to like, yo, fucking pull, and they're like, this is how you know that they're Muslim blood and shit. Like they're fucking pulling the exact same shit, suicide bombings, bombing up fucking airplanes and shit, some coward faggot ass shit, killing up civilians and shit too. Canadian children, infant babies getting killed because of this. Yeah, all because the liberals need a fucking vote. Do you understand like how fucking like dehumanizing it is to like live with these types of people and pretend that like they're human beings? It's dehumanizing. I feel like a piece of shit. They want to associate with you and you gotta like push them away. They want to talk to you, you just like gotta like give them nothing. And then after a while, they just bother you like it's like their fucking god-given right. And then they're like, well, let's use the mob rule. Let's use like gang violence. Let's like gang up. He can't stop us if we're all together. Yeah, ladies, this is what rapists do. Okay, when they feel as if they can get away with it, they will act brazen as long as they can act in unison. All right. When you see groups of brown people, brown men specifically, when you see groups of Arab men, these are groups of rapists, gang rapists. They will take turns raping you, right? They won't even fucking clean up. They like because they're faggots and shit, they like their sloppy seconds and stuff. And before you let that happen, get your weapons, getting large crowds of people, and whenever you see, a group of brown guys, group of Arab guys, rape squad, rape gang. And like it goes even further than that. Like the fucking red pill, I see it as more or less a recruitment. Like Andrew Tate tried to get people to recruit to over to Islam, over to like this like dehumanizing women, misogynistic, chauvinistic like way of life. No, did he fail miserably? He lost to a guy in fucking pink boxing gloves, and it's going to be something that him and his entire crew have to take to the grave with them. Your shame is perpetual. You will never be a man, no matter how hard you try. Right? And it's like it's trying to infiltrate that way into your life to think that like women should be subservient to you, should be suppressed. You should go for like exceedingly young women and like women who are naive because they're virgins and like I deserve a virgin because it's like I conquer and this and that and like these sick people want to continue on their fucking worthless existence. So not only am I out to replace them, and most likely other guys too, right? But we got to talk about this like really funny issue, right? That I was watching a video on, and I just had to drop this video about it. And it's like I preface it with this like I probably showed this gameplay footage before. This entire 15-minute long footage of me just like trying to do this evac in a hurricane and shit because it's like just me playing by myself and like looting by myself. Because it shows you like the difference between like being around people that like you can't necessarily trust versus like just winging it solo and shit, right? Where even though like a lot of times you feel depressed or you feel like I shouldn't be doing this, but like you're not responsible for like the actions of these like horrifyingly fucked up people who come from questionable backgrounds. Their parents don't fucking raise them properly and shit. And now I know why my parents never really liked a lot of my friends to come over and shit. It's because like they didn't like their parents. They didn't like where they fucking come from and shit, right? Like they're fucking messed up. And rightfully so. Like I was young and naive at the time, but like as I got older, like yeah, man, they were right. So this like Indian man, right? Brown Indian man, and they call themselves pickup artists, dating coaches, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. A bunch of fucking douchebags and shit. And I made this observation. I said, look, you sometimes do more harm with an open hand than with a closed fist. And when it comes to the South Asians, well, specifically for me, I would say like the Pakistanis, the Punjabis are the ones who have it the worst because of like the whole like rape crew squad type shit that's like popping off in the UK. Like these people are specifically making parties to kick these fuckers out of the country, and it's going to be like a civil war type shit scenario caused by like their inability to stop raping kids. And like that's not even like fair because it's like a lot of these Muslims who come over to this to the UK, they're not even from Pakistan. Like the aforementioned, I think they're from Iran and Egypt and shit. But it's just like you have the grooming gangs, you have like all these other guys doing up all them rapes and shit, and you have to all melt together, all associate each other with each other because it's like you're all ride or die for each other, you're all ready to throw down against the enemies of your fucking cult. But then you never thought to yourself, well, what happens when you guys do massive amounts of fuck ups and like drag yourselves down, right? But this guy's like I think he's Hindu Indian, and he's like complaining that like this is the funniest shit, dude. He's complaining that you know, other dating coaches, so other fucking douchebag retards that are like, leading, the blind leading the blind. They don't want to take Indian clients because technically speaking, they're almost undateable now and shit. And it's like, see what I mean? I'm like, and I'm just making this video today, right? After just watching this, like, YouTube video, like, less than like 15 minutes ago. And it's so fucking ironic that it's playing out like this in real time. Like, man, you have to like really think about, should you reproduce? Should you find love? Like, if you come from like a group of people, and I'm not gonna like single out any like religion because I just think it's like everybody from that fucking region in general. If you take away natural selection, so you have arranged marriages, if you have birth through like, forced conversions and rapes and shit, if you have like just a complete lack of infrastructure, and then you come over to other countries and you show them that's how you are, right? You've made your own fucking bed, and now you have to sleep in it. So when these Indian guys go up to these dating coaches around, like, well, he said, like Europe and shit, like the dating coaches, you know what I mean? Like to me, like a dating coach is like a fucking funny person because it's like, and I'm not like some like I could get girls no matter what. No, I strike out a lot too, but like I slow my fucking roll, right? Like, I try to remain hypercritical at all times, for better or worse, right? And then even I can see through like the fucking bullshit of these like so-called dating coaches to like helping out other guys. Because even if you get there are few dating coaches out there that are pretty sincere and shit. They're like they're just playboys and shit, right? And they're just like good natured. Usually like they're either ethnically like mixed white or like black or something like that. So like you wouldn't really necessarily call them dating coaches. You call them like life coaches and anything. And like I think the dating coach phenomena is a very new thing that like was created by the internet, if you will. Although I am pretty fucking old, so like I could be wrong, and like people have their entire careers up on the internet now. The internet isn't like something that's like old school and shit, right? But you get this like idea that like you're dealing with people that are in a situation that is beyond like fixing, because it's like even think about it, man. East Asians, natives, Native American Aboriginals, Hispanics will never have that problem. I'm just saying, like, you could run the gamut of every other fucking ethnicity around the fucking world, and dating coaches will take them, smile, and take their money. But not the Indian boys, not the South Asian boys, not the Paki boys, not the Punjabi boys, nah. Fuck this. Oh! Oh my god. Yo, it's like, yo, how much is your dating course? It's like, 900 or like 1,000, 2,000 plus dollars. So like, that's a Punjabi guy. He's like, yo, help me out, man. It's like, yo, keep your money, man. Oh shit, man. Oh shit, how the tables are turned. You know for a fact that like I'm getting like my own personal like fucking enjoyment out of this because that's the exact same thing that they did to me. That they are all doing to me. As fucked up and as hard it is to believe, they tried to clown me like that. And it's like, nah man, you're a lost cause. Yo, keep your money, dude. Like, yo, what is the LCD of the human race? The Paki Punjabi, this like this malaise of like the circumvention of natural selection plus like the inverse of love, like the financial like purchasing of human beings and like, endowment and like this petty like primitive species of people who feigned normalcy and now have to deal with the consequences. Well, I'm glad you all sat down with me and had this very important, very informative, educational discussion because I am so glad to have informed you all about it. You know what? Just for kicks and giggles, I'll link the video. You know what I mean? Like, yo, happy Sunday, motherfuckers. Yo, my West Indies, my coolie ass is out. Azure News is out.